Welcome to the gray area. It's your man Kevin Gray, 105.3 The Fan. Appreciate everyone subscribing to my YouTube channel right here at Kevin Gray Sports. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also at Kevin Gray Sports. Really appreciate the support for all the social media that we have here at Kevin Gray Sports. The Dallas Cowboys showed a little more support for themselves on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, albeit in a 24-19 loss. The Dallas Cowboys appeared to look at least competent in all three phases of the game on Sunday, despite giving up 15 fourth-quarter points and ultimately falling to Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers on a last-ditch effort by Garrett Gilbert. Garrett Gilbert started his first career NFL game and purported himself actually okay. He threw a touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb for 20 yards. He settled himself down with a 32-yard completion to Amari Cooper on the first drive on third down, no less. Even showed a little athleticism with his escapability, running for a couple of first downs. Garrett Gilbert actually held his own against one of the best defenses in all the National Football League and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were featuring, of course, T.J. Watt, Stephon Tuitt, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and a cavalcade of stars of the defensive side for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You could say the Steelers played a little bit down to their competition despite getting the win and moving to 8-0, but more than anything, the Cowboys did something that they hadn't done much of this season. Show some desire, some fight, some want to. And what they did, albeit in a loss, was encourage a lot of folks about what the future could continue to look like if the Dallas Cowboys, especially defensively, continue to improve. You saw a defense that was flying around the football, playing with a lot more confidence in Mike Nolan's system. This was backing up the performance that they had against the Philadelphia Eagles, where they forced 4 turnovers. Albeit in a football game against 38-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, the Cowboys lost a game that most folks found themselves thinking, you know what? At least the Cowboys tried. At least they showed some effort. At least there appears to be some accountability for a football team that cut Daryl Worley and Dontari Poe, traded away Everson Griffin, and the Cowboys seem like, at least on its surface, a team that's starting to turn the corner, even if it's devoid of the talent needed to ultimately turn the corner when they get that talent back, hopefully next year, namely its starting quarterback in one Ryan Dakota Prescott. But more so than anything, this year, the Cowboys, for the second half of this season, as they enter into their bye week before taking on the Minnesota Vikings on the road, this is the kind of game, you know what, I can work with this. I can work with that kind of performance. You know why? Because it shows me that this team didn't quit. When we thought a few weeks ago the Cowboys had quit against the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington football team in embarrassing back-to-back losses. But this team seems like the attitude, the want to, the desire is actually there. And that's a credit to the team sounding like they're trying to buy into the message that Mike McCarthy, Mike Nolan, and his coaching staff are starting to give to them. You remember those reports earlier in the season when the Cowboys players didn't feel like they were prepared and the coaches didn't know what they were doing. It appears that has turned a little bit of a corner, at least in terms of the performance that we've seen from the Cowboys the last couple of weeks. So what that means is maybe there's something here with Mike McCarthy. Maybe his message is resonating a little bit. Maybe there's some communication that's happening and some confidence that's building that should give Cowboys fans hope that going forward in the future that Mike McCarthy is actually the right man for the job if this message continues to resonate. Now, don't get me wrong. Jalen Smith is an easy target when it comes to criticisms of the Cowboys defense. Had a couple of bad penalties in this football game. Even Leighton Vander Esch lost his cool a little bit and got a penalty in and of himself. At the same time, this Dallas Cowboys team has shown that they can continue to fight through the adversity and did so in a way on Sunday that gives you encouragement that they will continue to find that measure of fight going forward. And give credit to Garrett Gilbert, the former AAF prodigy, if you will, the former AAF MVP, held his own and at least could potentially have created a quarterback controversy. Now, I think the Cowboys should go with Garrett Gilbert going forward. That's just me. But the Cowboys appear to be resolute in starting Andy Dalton. But hey, what could it hurt? Why not let the former SMU product get out there and continue to show what he has and see if he can continue to build some confidence for this offense that at least looked competent on Sunday. But here's the thing. The Cowboys own the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft if the season were to end today. And look, the Cowboys players, they don't care about the NFL Draft. They don't care about the next guy coming in next year's NFL Draft. They care about their jobs, their livelihoods, and how they can continue to ensure that they keep those jobs and livelihoods going into next year rather than potentially tanking to try and get a higher draft pick. But it seems like organically they're doing that themselves because the talent is devoid on this football team. But make no mistake, while the Cowboys may find themselves losing more football games as this season continues to go on, one thing they will not be doing, it appears, based on the last 2 weeks of performances, and that's laying down for anybody. And you say, Kevin, well, where was this during the first part of the season? How come this defense couldn't find any kind of measure of resolve or fight against teams like the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington football team? Why have they been so bad? Look, I guess it took some time, But trust me, I'm just as frustrated about the defense playing well the last couple of weeks as anybody else who thought they should have been playing this way earlier in this season. But nonetheless, sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth in order to learn a lesson and get back up and keep moving forward. And it sounds like after being punched in the mouth so much that the Dallas Cowboys are tired of getting pushed around by everybody in the National Football League and being embarrassed week in and week out. Because the last 2 weeks, they've stood up, they fought, and they desired to be a better football team. And I can work with that. I can work with that kind of effort. The Dallas Cowboys will have another challenge when they take on the Minnesota Vikings and a guy in Dalvin Cook who thoroughly and utterly embarrassed them last year. This time they're going on the road to face an even better version of Dalvin Cook. But we'll worry about that a couple of weeks from now. What I'm concerned about is this Dallas Cowboys team continuing to build on the momentum that they have right now, and more than anything, continuing to buy into the message that it appears that they are doing so from Mike McCarthy and Mike Nolan, which should be encouraging. Yes, you may shake up some talent coming next year, but at the same time, you've got to work with what you got right now. And what you got right now, it seems like, is a bunch of dudes who are tired of getting embarrassed. And there's something to be said about playing with some pride, playing with some energy, playing with some focus and some discipline. You make yourselves look like an actual football team, a competent one that's not embarrassing its franchise week in and week out. So give credit where credit is due. Special teams, offensively, defensively, all 3 phases of the game at least played like they belonged on an NFL field and not getting laughed off of it the way they've been throughout this season. I'll take that. And if it means careening toward a top 5 NFL pick while still learning the lessons that they need to, maybe they'll deserve the pick that they get in order to get better next year. With that being said, somehow the Cowboys are still in this NFC East division, which honestly I don't care about, at least this year anyway, which has been a hard pill to swallow, to be quite honest with you. But what I saw on Sunday was a team that cared. I wish would be a little more aggressive on 4th down. Scared money don't make money, and I thought they were a little scared in the 4th and inches call where it led to a field goal where it actually took down their win probability instead of actually going for it. But other than that, I'm okay with what happened on Sunday, and more Cowboys fans are starting to be okay with it too, as long as the effort continues to be put forward by this Dallas Cowboy football team the way that it was, hanging with the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. And if that's the case, okay, I can work with that. The Dallas Cowboys are on their bye week this week before they get back onto the road. Yes, at 2-7. Yes, still in it in the NFC East, but going to take on Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings, head coached by Mike Zimmer. But at least for one Mike, or 2 Mikes, in McCarthy and Nolan, and Kellen Moore too, this team may be on the cusp of starting to figure some things out. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for my YouTube channel right here at Kevin Gray Sports. Peace.